What's up, everybody? This is your boy NYC New York Chris, and I'm back with another video, y'all. Today is gonna be a video that I speak about budgeting your money and living within your means. So now, what I really want to talk about in this video, and I'm gonna keep it like straight 100, when a person is living by themselves or living with someone else, or even in the shelter system or anywhere, you gotta budget your money smart. Anything that you spend your money on, it has to be important first. The importance, prioritize yourself and spend your money wisely. If you work in a minimum wage job and you know that you only get a certain amount of money every week, and you only have a job for a source of income, just one job for a source of income, you have to be able to budget your money smart. So I've been living in New York City my whole life. Born and raised in New York City. I'm a New York City bound kid, type of guy. When I was a kid, everything that I did, I thought about every move that I made smart. Especially if I only had a job, or if I was living with my parents at the time and stuff, which I can't even remember the last time I lived with my mom and dad. It's been probably maybe almost 20 years that I haven't lived with my mom and dad. So I'm 35 years old right now. So I've been in the street, in and out, doing what I had to do for myself for my whole life, even as a teenager. So I really could break down budgeting money and living within your means in a good way, So if you have a minimum wage job and you only expecting to make $700 a week, before taxes, and when they tax you, that $700 is gonna come down to maybe like $610, even $590 probably. So you only gonna be working with something of that nature or whatever, working minimum wage. Minimum wage is like $16.50 or something like that in New York City as of January 1st, 2025, $16.50 in New York City. So when you think about how much you make a week, and you know how much is everything that when you know all your hours that you're going to be already making, how much income you're going to be already bringing in. When you work in a regular steady job, when you have a steady schedule, you already know how much you're going to be making at the end of that week. Even if you do an hour overtime, 2 hours overtime or whatever, but normally in a lot of jobs in New York City, they really not trying to pay you more than what they have to. They don't really want people to do overtime. Depending on where you at, sometimes people could get overtime hours. But the way that the economy is going right now, they don't want to pay an employee more than what they have to pay them. So if they tell you your rate is minimum wage, $16.50, or you making $17, $18, they don't want to pay you more than that, because a regular business owner is going to think strategically. How can they save money rather than spend unnecessary money? And that's exactly what this video is about. The same thing is budgeting. Now, when you budget yourself, you think about what's more important. What do you need to spend your money on? First thing that I'll think about if I had to spend my money on something is living expenses. Now, your living expense is supposed to come first. It doesn't matter what you feel like you need to do during the week. It doesn't matter what it is. Your living expense is supposed to come first. So what I'll say is rent. Rent on anything. It doesn't matter, rent on anything. Wherever you living at, whether it's by yourself, whether it's with a family member, or parent, or shelter, or anything, you still have to think about how much is it to live where you're living at. So if you living in a room, if you know your room costs $250, that $250 is supposed to be to the side. If you were living in the studio and you know that a studio apartment maybe ranges from like $2,500 to $3,000, maybe roughly. You know, you could get cheaper. You could get it cheaper. Divide that by 4 and go with that every week. And you know that you need to put that to the side. Another thing is food. Like, you need to worry about keeping yourself healthy. You need to worry about keeping yourself in tip-top shape. Anything that you do in life, you need to be responsible enough to keep yourself healthy so you could be able to go on to the next day. You know, so keeping yourself healthy and keeping yourself able to be able to go to work and make that income means everything. So you think about how much food you how much is it a week to for you to be able to eat. And New York City is other ways that you could go about being able to feed yourself. You know, you got other sources of ways to be able to feed yourself, like public assistance gives food stamps, or you got soup kitchens, you got other places where you can go to eat if you are thinking about how can you budget yourself, and how can you basically deduct some kind of amount off of the original amount that you working with, you know. So food is a necessity, you know. So everything that you would think of as a necessary expenses is supposed to come first. So now another thing that I'll talk about is transportation. Transportation is crazy because transportation's been fluctuating for the past 5 or 6 years. Since maybe like 2020, transportation has been going up and up and up, and probably even before that. The last time I took the train or bus, it was a long time, but I'm still pretty much familiar about how it is to for you to be able to take public transportation. So still, all in all, driving, public transportation is all the same. It fluctuates, but just know that's a necessity that you're supposed to take care of ahead of time as well too. Things of that nature needs to be taken care of first. So I'll see if you taking public transportation and public transportation is fluctuating. I'll say that you should go with a 7-day unlimited Metro card. Now, 7-day unlimited Metro card is only maybe like $34 or $35 a week. You know, so just so you could assure that you could be able to travel without a problem, you know, like travel without overspending. Like I think the fare is maybe like almost like $3 a single ride. I think like $2.90, $2.95, maybe around there. So just say $3. You just spend $3 on a single ride. So a round trip ride on a subway or bus, maybe like $6. Maybe like $6. Yeah, three there and 3 back, wherever you going. If you just going straight to work and back home, that's $6 right there that you already spent. So 6 times 5 is already $30. So if you think about it, $30, you just spent $30 with a 6-day week. So you might as well go with a unlimited Metro card to be able to use it. You know, I don't think you use a Metro card back of the back. I think you got to wait like 15 minutes or something like that for an unlimited Metro card. But just know that you will be able to have way more than 6 rides. You know, so that's part of your necessities that you know for a fact that you're gonna have to spend money on. Another thing, I'm just gonna move to the side to another side for better lighting. So when you're thinking about necessities, that's an important thing that you're supposed to think about, especially when you budgeting your money. and you thinking about the things that you need to spend your money on, or not the things that you want to spend your money on. So this is a need. Transportation is a need. You need to be able to still need to be able to travel without having to worry about how you're going to get there and back to work. And then another thing is personal use money. So when you already thought about how you live in, where you living at, with your rent, how you gonna eat, how you gonna travel. Another thing that is more important to me than any other thing is personal use money. Like and think about what you use for personal use. In the morning time, you get up and you take a shower. Hopefully, that's what you're supposed to do. Take a shower, brush your teeth, comb your hair, do your hair or whatever, So what do you need to do that? You need soap, you need deodorant for hygiene purposes, whether you use deodorant or not, because some people don't use deodorant. Muslims, other kind of people that people that don't like chemicals and stuff like that, or some things of that nature. Whatever is your preference that you use, you just know that you need things for hygiene purposes. That's personal use. Soap, deodorant, toothpaste, toothbrushes, combs, brushes, stuff like that. Whatever you use through the week, you still that goes under personal use. Hygiene and care, that goes under personal use. So you would take that in consideration, and you would deduct that from your expenses as well. So whatever at the end of deducting all of your expenses, that any other money that you have left over, that's what you could be able to save or be able to spend on something else that you may want, but the most important thing about it is being able to take care of your expenses. What's more important in the beginning. That's it. Living within your means is something that is so hard for people to do nowadays. When you think about it, like when you tell a person that, they can't do this because you can't afford it, you would think about it like, you would see the money that you have at the end of the week in your check, and you'd be like, wait, but I could afford this. I have $700. I just made $700, so I could afford it. I believe I could afford it. But when you think about it, and you think about what are you spending your money on, you have to think about the things that's more important first. So, like I told you, rent, food, transportation, and personal use supposed to come out first. I believe anything after that, you should stick to the 10% rule. So it doesn't matter, man. Look, this will save you in the long run. This will save you in the long run from a whole lot of stuff. I believe that you should still, regardless of if you are budgeting your money and living within your means, you should always respect the 10% rule. That's a must. My dad taught me so much about this rule, and he nailed it in my head consistently every time that I made money. You know why? Because it is so smart to put money away before you start deducting things that you know you need to do. Right? Because this is what I'm saying. I feel like if you put the 10% away ahead of time, then you can think about, all right, what do you need to do? Your needs come first, and then your wants. So when you think about what you need to do, right, you'll be like, all right, if you got $700 and you put 10% away from that $700, that's $70. So you have $630 left, right? So now when you think about it, like if you thought about it like $700, all right, let me think about everything that I need to do. you already spent that almost that $700. So now if you were working with a lower number, something that I've been doing for a little while, I've been thinking about, if I put money away ahead of time and then worked with the money that I have in front of me, I will think a little bit different, but what I'm going to spend on what I need already. So if that makes sense. So now, like I said, if you had $700 and you put 10% away of that $700, that 10% is $70, so you'll be left with $630. If you played with that $630 and you started crossing off of your need list, so that is your living situation, your rent, whatever that you live, your food situation, your transportation, and then your personal use. You would deduct that from what you have already after using the 10% rule, which is to put 10% of your income away. So if you think about that, that's a smart strategy to use, and maybe it'll come in handy when if a person is put in a situation of that kind of nature, if they feel like that they need, they need to think about how they're going to spend their money. So, like I said, the 10% rule is crazy important, because if you think about saving 10% out of your income every day for a year, you'll be surprised on how much money you put away instead of wasting. Because like for instance, right? I made a random amount of personal use money. I just said I usually use maybe around $100 personal use. Now, this is my thing. After taking care of rent, taking care of food, and taking care of transportation, which is the three most important things that you have to think about living in New York City, you already thought about how you're going to live, how you're going to eat, and how you're going to travel back and forth to work. So that's a guaranteed way of you knowing that you're going to get paid and be able to still do these same things over again for the next week. So I roughly estimated $100 for personal use money. So if you already put your 10% away, you put your 10% away in the beginning, and then you started deducting your living expenses, your food expenses, and your transportation expenses. Now, whatever is left from that amount that you already you initially had, whatever is left from that amount, then you could use that to personal use money. Maybe you have to live beneath your means. Instead of living within your means, living within your means that you are living within that $700 for that example. You are living within that $700. So that $700 will cover everything important of your needs first, and then whatever else extra is your wants. Now, when you live in beneath your means, like I told you, if you stick to the 10% rule and you be faithful to that 10% rule, it'll be faithful to you. So if you live beneath your means instead of living within your means, that 10% rule will pay off dramatically without you even knowing, because you actually saved first before you spent. So this is important. This has always been important my whole life. And especially if you are a single person, you don't have kids, you don't have a wife, you just living by yourself. You probably in college, or you're not in college, you're trying to start your own business, things of that nature, where you are only working with the funds that you have. You have to think this way. You have to make yourself mentally ready for the future before you can think about making yourself ready for just that week or that month or that couple months or year. You have to think about what's more important. So that's my take on everything. That's my take on everything. Where you know, if you can't live within your means, live beneath your means. Because living beneath your means, if you got to take an L from the beginning in the beginning to live better later on, that's what matters the most right there. So I just hope that this video was helpful to you guys. I hope that y'all got some insight on how I budget my money in any kind of way, because you know I wouldn't give an exact amount of money on how much I make or anything like that to refer it to someone else, because everyone's life is different. You can't really give a person an estimate, an example of your life if they don't make the same amount of money, or they basically don't have the same kind of income that you have. Everyone has their own income, whether it's just a regular minimum wage job, a job where they making good money, a job where they making good money with part-time hours, or good money with full-time hours. Everything fluctuates. So, you know, just giving an example on how to budget your money is better than giving an example on how do you budget your money. Because then you wouldn't be able to touch down on everyone that will be able to connect with you in that way. You know, so I just hope that this video right here was useful for you guys to see an insight on how I budget my money, and how, you know, living within your means comes in handy, and living beneath your means comes in extra handy. So thank you guys for all your support. I appreciate you guys even watching my videos and you know, hearing me just, you know, speak my mind to you guys, letting you guys know the importance of living in New York City. You know, like I say, every day is gonna be a challenge, but as long as you always know that every day is gonna be a good day, you will start your day off positive with a good start. You know, so I hope that I touched down on some of my viewers on, you know, the importance in life, and making you feel, you know, that you know you have a better chance for the next day. So I appreciate you guys watching once again. Please show me some support, please. If anything counts, you know, a share, a like, a follow, you know, even if you just tell somebody about the video. You know, you don't even got to share the video, but I'll appreciate it if you do. But, you know, until next time, you guys, I appreciate everything once again, and I love y'all, and stay focused. I'm out.